back to Check Out the Stat by your girl Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby. So today we're going to talk about what's going on with TikTok. You'll learn the day in the life of an associate producer at ESPN and Saquon Barkley's impact on Giants fans. But first, I've got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog, you can earn money by making picks on your favorite players. You can try the app in California, Texas, and New York, and the list goes on. If you want to play along, go download Underdog Fantasy, use code STAT. They'll match your deposit up to $100, and you get a special pick. But first, let's do our Underdog Fantasy picks of the day. So tonight, Denver will play the Spurs. Underdog Fantasy has Jokic at 24.5 points. So Jokic averages around 26 points. His shots have been fluctuating a bit, but I think against the Spurs, he should have more than 24.5 points. So we'll see. So I'm going to go higher for Jokic. Wemby is at 10.5 rebounds. I know people are thinking against Jokic. No way. But earlier in the season, he did have 11 rebounds versus the Denver Nuggets. But I'm not going to go higher. I'm going to put lower. I think he's going to have just about 9 or 10 rebounds. And then Devin Vassell, Underdog Fantasy has him at 18.5 points. So Devin is actually a shooter. I think in this game, he'll have to step his game up and put up more points if they want to have even a close game. I don't think that the Spurs are going to win. But if they were going to have a chance, Devin Vassell would have to step up. He had 28 points versus the Thunder, which is pretty good. And he averages 19.2. It's making me think I want to put lower, but I'm definitely going to put higher for this game because, like I said, I think he's going to have to step it up, and I think he'll have about 20 points even, but we'll see what happens. Make sure you guys download the Underdog Fantasy app, use code STAT, and you guys can play along. Okay, so today, my Superwoman of the Week is Tatiana Smallwood, and she is truly a Superwoman because the girl does it all. She's an associate producer at ESPN for First Take, and she's a content creator and influencer. She's also a very, very, very loyal Giants fan through all the madness that has happened with that team throughout the year. So today, you'll learn about her journey, get to know who she is, where she's from, what she's about, and her opinion on the Giants.
What's up, Giants fans? It's your girl Tots, and I'm back with another video. And today we are talking the NFL draft. That's right, draft day is coming up. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I work at ESPN. So I figured who better than to ask my co-workers what the Giants should do with their picks. Let's see.
My name is Eric Threet II. I work on the Morning Sports Center.
I'm Marcus, and I work on NFL Live.
I am Matt Berry, and I work on Sports Center.
Are you a Giants fan at all?
Hell no.
He's a Commanders fan. That's really sad. We have the 5th and the 7th pick. What do you think we should do with those?
Give me Malik Willis for one of the picks, and then you need a receiver.
Giants should take their 2 first-round picks and package them for a deal that would bring in new ownership.
Chris Olave from Ohio State.
I'm an Eagles fan. Oh boy. I hope nothing but the worst from a Giants draft.
Give them to the Chicago Bears because honestly, right now, like y'all are struggling, but we need some help.
You broke my heart. I had my doubts about you from the start. Push to the edge like Bird. On Instagram digging up dirt. You wanna smoke with me first? Well, this one gon' yeah.
Introducing Tatiana Smallwood. How are you?
Hey, girl. Hey. So happy to be here.
Yes, and I'm happy to have you on the show. I've been wanting to get you on the show, so I'm happy that the schedule is aligned and you're here. These people definitely got to know who you are. You've been killing it. Okay.
Thank you, girl. Same to you. This is like, I feel like this link up has been a long time coming, so I'm happy we're here.
Right, exactly. Okay, so before we get into what you do and your role, I kind of want to talk more about your background so people can really know who Tati is. So what type of kid were you growing up? Where are you from? That type of thing.
All that jazz. All right, so first let's start off where I was born in New York City. Like, I'm a New York girl to the bone. I lived in New York for 14 years. And I grew up with my dad, and my mom ended up moving to Florida. So I also spent like 10 years in Tampa, Orlando. So it's like the craziest people really come from like New York and then Florida. So here we are. And yeah, Tampa, Wesley Chapel, like
1-3. If you know, you know.
if you know, you know. That's literally, it's funny because like literally at work, it was the day that John Cena came. And I just heard a conversation about Tampa and I was like, Wesley Chapel. And then he turned around, he's like, Wesley Chapel. I'm like, wait, not John Cena knows about Wesley Chapel. Okay.
He be out there. He does like a lot of beach stuff, like bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's really
yeah, but I just got off on a tangent. But yeah, so growing up, like I was always into sports. I played volleyball, I played softball, ran track, played basketball. Like I literally tried to get into any sport I could. So that I think like at a young age, I pretty much knew that working in sports was probably going to be the way for me just because I was so passionate about it at a young age. I used to grow up watching Yankee games and watching Kimberly Jones do like post-game reports. And I would see her like getting the Gatorade baths right next to her. And I was like, oh my God, like I want to be in that moment. I want to be there watching my team like win championships. And then from there, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. So stuck with it.
Right. And now you're here. Okay. So I know you said you were always interested in sports. When you went to college, was that originally around your major? Did you do something completely different? How did that process go for you?
Yeah, so in college, I majored in journalism and then I minored in sports business. So with the sports business minor, like that honestly is what changed my life. Like shout out to my professors at UCF because they're the ones that like pushed us to go get internships. And a lot of our internships like had to be sports related. And they were very well connected around Orlando. So a lot of the interns, a lot of internships that we had with the minor were through like Orlando City Soccer, Orlando Magic, NBC Golf, like you name it, they had connections in different places. So going into my major and my minor, like I already had broadcast journalism experience that I was getting through my major, but that wasn't specific to sports. So tying in sports business, I was able to learn the media side, learn the entrepreneurship side of it, and then also learn like just the gender, the equality differences that happen in sports. And I feel like that is really what shaped me to like be the producer I am today. Just having all that prior knowledge in college. And then also like we had our own sports run show called Hitting the Field. And I was a part of that. So I'm talking like teleprompting, social media, hosting, like cameramen, like we literally we did it all.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that because even at Miami, we had a similar type of program where we were able to do things like in action. How do you feel like that benefited you now? Because do you feel like that's necessary? Do you feel like, you know, you could still find a shortcut out, or do you just feel like that will make you the best you if you want to enter into the sports world for other people watching?
That's a great question. And it's so interesting because like now where we are, where you have TikTok and you have Instagram and you have YouTube, like you don't necessarily need to be tied to like tied to a program that's teaching you how to use those tools because people are learning them at home. Obviously, you know, getting your degree in journalism gives you a lot of credibility. But however, we see like athletes now who have their own podcasts that are blowing up and they didn't have a journalism background. So I would say for myself, I feel like it benefited me because it definitely gave me the credibility. But I understand nowadays where you don't really need a journalism degree in order to work in our field.
Right. Okay. So what was your first internship? Because I know a lot of people are like, do I have to, you know, get this type of internship to get this type of job? Like what kind of advice can you give? And then what was that first internship that you took on?
So it's funny because my first internship was still in communications, but it was working with a nonprofit for schools. So like it had nothing to do with sports. And literally like we were going into schools and just helping like underprivileged schools have better resources, teachers that are like our age that can come in and talk to the students, obviously in a lot of Black and brown neighborhoods. So I was like their PR person. So whenever we would have like an event, I would just like type up something and then send it out on a press release. And that was my first one. So it wasn't sports related, but I will say like it gave me the tools of just corporate life. early, like having to get coffee for your bosses, like that kind of stuff is like you really only get that experience through internships.
Right. Which is definitely true. And sometimes you're gonna do things that you don't want to do, but it's
Girl.
adding to the experience. So I
Facts.
Okay, so did you like your experience at UCF?
Oh my gosh. Wait, you went to UM, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know, the Florida schools be competing and everything, but I don't know. UCF got it.
Okay.
UCF, like, it was okay. So first of all, in the North, like, we don't really know much about Divine Nine. So my first day on UCF's campus is like, that was my first day seeing alphas, Qs, like AKAs, everything. Like, I had no prior knowledge of it. So when I came to like college in the South, I was like, this is different. This is real different. Like, I know we're PWI, but like a lot of the Black community in UCF is close. Yeah. So immediately, like, you were having friends who were pledging, and then you had friends that were focused on their business major, and then you had the friends that were outside, the party promoters.
Yeah.
I literally knew everybody. So yeah. I got like a taste of, party promoting. I got a taste of just like meeting people with similar backgrounds as far as education goes. And then just meeting like a lot of other Black women who I felt like were just like me.
Yeah. So one, I love that you shared that, because I think a lot of the misconception is that PWIs is that we don't have a community, but it's like, regardless, we're going to find each other and we're going to be tight. Because that's how we get through things. Like, it's not like every day we're dreading going to class, but it is nice to have people that look like you and understand you in that type of position. So I love that you shared that. So for people that are watching, guys, it's okay. Go where you're going to get your best experience and it'll all work out. I promise.
Right. You find your tribe. Like, you have your clique that you pretty much stick with, throughout the years, and you really lean on them. Like, I feel like when you go to schools who are like predominantly white, it brings that bond just even closer when you are with people who look just like you.
Definitely agree. So let's fast forward to graduation. What was the process after you graduated? Did you have a job directly out of college? Did you have to do job hunting? How did it go for you?
So up until about like 3 months before graduation, I was like panicking because I didn't have nothing figured out.
Yeah.
I feel like most seniors in college, like those last 3 months are crucial. And I was already doing internships with Orlando City Soccer. So I knew that once I graduated, I was hoping that at least they would bring me back for another season. So I was working with Orlando City Soccer doing part-time. When I was with them, I was doing social media. I was also helping with their broadcast, whether it was away or home. And then I was also doing part-time working at UCF games. So I was working like the premium areas, dealing with drunk fans, dealing with players' moms. Like, I just was part of the hospitality team there, but I knew that there was a way that I could work my way to like the executive positions or so. So started off Orlando City doing part-time. Then I was doing UCF part-time. Once I graduated, I was offered a full-time position with UCF. And girl, that was in partnership and sponsorships. And I was like, I'll take it. I don't got no experience doing this, but excuse me. I was like, I don't have any experience doing this, but I'll take it. And the reason why they offered it to me is because they saw how hard I worked in hospitality at the games. And they were like, if she's someone that can take care of like the fans the way she does, she's someone that can take care of our sponsors. So it's just crazy how like one road led to another to eventually get to where I wanted to be.
Got it. So let's talk about how you got to where you wanted to be. What was that road like? And then can you explain to people your current position and then what your daily duties consist of?
Yes. So while I was at UCF, I definitely was missing being in sports media. Like, I loved being on the sidelines during games and getting that game day feel. But my passion was with creating media and creating content. So NABJ, shout out to NABJ. Girl, that's where you meet everybody. Right. So I had connections from a previous NABJ conference, and that were currently at ESPN. So when I saw a production assistant job come up, I immediately hit them up on the side. Shout out to my boy Deontay Smith. Literally, he hit me back and was like, I know the recruiter. I'm gonna get you in contact with her. So I was like, okay, cool. And then like a day later, I saw like ESPN recruiter looking at my LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, this is happening for real. So literally, like, he definitely extended that olive branch for me to then she reached out to me. And at that point, all I had to do was just kill the interviews. And it was not an easy process. It wasn't like, oh, because I knew someone, that's how I was able. Those interviews were like, I think I interviewed with 10 different people. Just my first, second round, third round. And they were like, I had to take notes. I had probably like 3 pages worth of notes for my interviews. You had to know your sports. They quizzed you on different sports topics, whether it was MLB, NFL, NBA. They tested your video storytelling ability by like showing you different highlights, put these highlights in order. Like it was like taking an SAT exam. So it wasn't just a walk in the park. And thankfully, they saw something they liked.
Yeah.
And I started as a production assistant in 2020. And now I'm currently an associate producer, which is AP. And I work on First Take, which is coincidentally where I started as a production assistant, just full circle. And every day, like I write scripts, I help out with guest interviews. I help out with talent, preparing Stephen A, preparing Molly, like those are my everyday responsibilities to basically just make the show great.
Yeah, that's super, super dope. Congrats to you. And then for people watching, how important is writing in your career?
It's so important. And honestly, like for a while when I was at ESPN, I didn't do much writing. It was a lot of video work, like, can you cut a highlight together? Can you put together graphics? With my current role at First Take, this is the most writing I've done so far at ESPN. But it is important because I had that experience in college of writing. I had experience writing just like social media posts. And like I said, my first internship, I was writing press releases. It's just crazy how the tools that I had before that I was growing, I didn't know that I'd be using right now.
Right.
And you know, like we've had editors, you know, like we used to have editors check our scripts every single day. We send it to an editor and he would check your script in front of the entire staff. So if you had a typo, if you had a grammar, he was replying all to everybody on the staff. It was correcting your typos. And I'll never forget one of my first times like writing scripts for the show. He replied, all good with no corrections. And I was like, oh. I was like, I think I might be in the right spot. So now I do a lot of writing, but I could not have been able to, I think, be as good as a writer as I am now if it wasn't for the experience I had before.
I understand that. And I know that feeling when it's like, all right, I'm in the right spot. I'm doing the right thing. It's all going well. Like you need that confirmation sometimes.
Affirmations too. Yeah. I'm a words of affirmation kind of girl. So.
Okay, so on the show, have you had a favorite guest that has came in, like, or something that you really remember that you're like, this was such a good show? Like, do you have that type of moment?
Okay, I'm trying to go through and think about. So it has to be one of our remote shows. Okay. I would say my favorite show, at least for me personally, was the first show that we did coming back to football season, I want to say in 2022. And we did the show on the boat. So we did a show on a boat going down the Hudson River in New York. And that was my first time meeting Stephen A, Molly, and Michael Irving. So imagine your first day meeting literally all the big dogs and you're about to get on like an 8-foot boat with them. And I'm just like, that was like one of the moments for me where I was like, people are not going to believe this is happening. Like, I can't even believe it's happening right now. Like, wait till I call my dad when I get home and tell him that I just met Michael Irvin today and now we're on a boat shooting the whole entire show. Like, that was, yeah, that was honestly like such a highlight for me. And especially because it was something so unique. Like, I had never honestly seen a sports show, or at least a sports debate show, happening on a boat.
Right.
So that was a really cool experience for sure.
See, it's super unrealistic until it happens, and you're like, wow, I'm really here.
Yeah.
This is
And then it's Michael Irvin, like, you know, like he has restaurants named after him.
Yeah.
Like, he's a legend in, like, for Cowboys fans. And I'm a Giants fan. So for me, I was like, I got to size you up first. But great guy.
right. And then just last thing on, ESPN, is there a talent there that you feel like is way funnier than you expected them to be? Because I think as viewers, we definitely see a very different role compared to obviously you working in office with them up in New York.
I would say for sure that person is Stephen A. Like, whenever people, I know you've met him a few times too. Whenever people ask me, because that's the number one question I get, as soon as they find out where I work, as soon as they find out what I do, that's the number one. How's Stephen A? Is he like, who he is in on TV? And I always tell people, like, he's actually like really goofy in person. Like, he takes that entertainment role really serious, and it's not something that he has to really try to do. Like, he naturally wants to brighten up your day when he walks in a room. And a lot of people don't get to see that side of him, especially Cowboys fans. So, but I've definitely had like a lot of moments where I'll be like, wow, he's really making me laugh. Like, these are not just like corny dad jokes. Like, it's the memes that you see, but it's like happening 24/7. And I'm just like, okay, he's a funny guy.
No, I definitely agree. That was honestly, one of the people that I met. I was like, okay, Stephen A is that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
how was that? Because it was like twice, I think, that you met him too, right?
He stopped by a couple times. He's super cool. He's very respectful, very nice. Like, obviously on camera, like, people are just like, oh, I don't know. But like his takes, he's always spot on. Doesn't need any much preparation at all. He can just work. He's that guy. So I always salute Stephen A, and he's super funny. So yeah,
for sure. And like, people ask me that too. Like, do you script Stephen A? I'm like, no. No. I could never script Steve. Like, I write scripts as far as like, breaking news, so and so happened. A lot of the stuff that Molly reads will share responsibilities of writing. But as far as what Stephen A is coming up with, that is literally all him. Like, and always has been.
Right. And people don't believe that, but it's like, guys, he's really like that. Like, that's why that is his forte. Okay. So for people also watching, you are a content creator. You post memes, you post informational things, all of the above. How did you get started with that?
Okay, just like everybody during the pandemic, during COVID, because what else could we do but be home and make content?
Right.
I think my first Giants video went viral during the pandemic, and that was totally like intentional. Like, I just literally came home and I was so frustrated about our schedule that I was like, just put the camera in front of me. Like, I'ma just go off and do it. And then I remember when it started picking up steam, and then it was getting to like 500,000, and then it got to 1 million. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is something that maybe I should continue doing.
Right.
And just from that one video of something accidentally going viral, I was like, all right, I can stick with this, because I feel like Giants fans and I, now we have like a little bit of a bond.
Right.
So I found my niche and I found my fan base. And since then, it's been awesome, because like I get to express myself, and then I also like get to have, opportunities and build relationships with different brands now. So that's another thing that's surreal too for me, honestly.
Right. No, but you definitely deserve it. You put the work in. You are doing multiple things, but also doing things that you love. And like, you deserve everything coming towards you. Sometimes you're just like, I gotta grind, but sometimes you gotta be like, I deserve this, because you definitely do, Tati. Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, honestly.
You're so welcome. So speaking of like, yes, there's a positive, but I feel like there's also a negative, unless you haven't dealt with that. Do you ever deal with some comments where people, you know, just being a woman in the industry where people, you know, misunderstand what you're trying to say? How have you dealt with that? And what are some things that you do, like, you know, when that happens?
Oh, all the time. I mean, TikTok is a cruel place. So I feel like you have to have tough skin to be a content creator in this generation. But honestly, like I invite all that stuff, like, cause I'm a troll myself. So like, if you think you're about to be funnier than me underneath my post, you got another thing coming because my clapbacks is gonna be for real. So it's like, I prepare yourself. If you're going to comment something on my TikTok, just prepare for me to go to your profile and pull up your bio. That's something that you don't really want somebody talking about, because that's me. And I'm gonna just do it because I want to be funny, not because I'm trying to be malicious, but just because it's all jokes. But yeah, so like stuff like that, it doesn't bother me. Of course, you're gonna have your guys that are like, oh, it's just women and they don't know what they're talking about and they don't know football, da da da. Like, I know in a conversation I could run circles around a man about sports. So at the end of the day, like you got to pick what you give your energy to. And most times I'm here for the laughs. So if it's something super negative, like I'm not really probably gonna entertain it. But if it's something I can get a joke off with, I'll entertain it.
I definitely will. Okay, so I know that you said that you and the team have started a close bond, but you know who doesn't seem like you'll have the best bond anymore? Mr. Saquon Barkley. So I kind of want you to be the spokesperson. How do you feel about him going to the Eagles?
Okay, so let's start off like the business side of things. I completely understand the business side of things. Like in this day and age, the Giants have had their opportunity to offer him the money he wanted, and another team was offering him money that frankly we were never going to give him. So I understand the business side of it. I understand running backs can come and go. We picked up another one. We can probably get another one during mid-season. So I get all the business side. What people don't understand is the emotional side. And that is really what matters most. I feel like I don't care. You don't go from the Giants to in division to the Eagles or the Cowboys. Those were just the two teams out of the 32 teams that were not available. Just don't do that. Like people were thinking he was going to go to the Texans. That's great. D'Amico Ryan, CJ Stroud, go flourish. I want to see you have a great time with them. Or you can go to Baltimore with Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. Love that for you. Instead, you decided to go up the street to the people who we have to play twice a year, who already put up like 200 rushing yards against us every time they play us. And now we have to add Saquon Barkley on top of that. So it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart truly. So I can't believe he did it, to be honest.
Yeah. And honestly, like just seeing social media, because I'm a Steelers fan, so I'm out that mix. But seeing the way that Eagles fans are coming for y'all right now.
And you know, Eagles fans are rude. They have been born rude. Like they're like by the age of 6, they're taught how to flip people off and how to curse out other fan bases by 6 years old. So of course, like my comments are just like nasty. Right. But I also have Eagles fans trying to recruit me now. They're literally like hardcore treasure, like, yeah, just come down to Lincoln. We'll treat you good here. Don't worry. You won't be with those trash ass Giants no more. And I'm conflicted because, you know, Jalen Hurts over there too. And I'm like, hey, y'all. It's like, y'all be having so much fun over there. Right. It's like literally that meme of SpongeBob when it's like Patrick and SpongeBob outside having so much fun and I'm Squidward just inside like,
yeah.
But it's on now. Like we've already had beef, but now it's beef forever.
Yeah. Forever. It's your loyalty, but you also know where you stand. So it's a kiki now, but when the season starts.
Oh yeah, it's all smoke.
Yeah. Okay, so I also got to ask, how did you feel about Tiki Barber's comments saying that Saquon was dead to the team? How do you guys feel about that? Because I know we have a lot of jokes here and there, but what did you think about that comment?
So there's definitely a lot of different layers to that because a lot of Giants fans feel like Tiki is not one to talk. So it's just like, okay, like you're not really the spokesperson, so you really like you're not the best spokesperson, so you really shouldn't be saying anything. what I found most interesting about it was, to me, it seemed like Tiki was saying it very playfully. Like he was smiling when he said it. Like it didn't seem like it was like angry or serious. But it was Saquon's like response and his clapbacks to it, where he was like, "Oh, you've been a hater, you know, my whole career," and I was like, "Whoa, wait, time out,"
Right.
because from what I've seen, like previous tweets and pictures and videos, like Tiki has seemed to always embrace Saquon. So it was just really puzzling for me to see Saquon react the way that he did, which makes me feel like there's probably more than what we're seeing, because Saquon has always been like an upstanding guy, never in drama. I've never seen Saquon actually talk that way to anybody. So it's just there has to be something underlying going on that we don't know. But I definitely don't think that it should have been blown up the way it was.
Right. No, I understand that. And it definitely seemed like there was something deeper than just what we saw. So
yeah,
handle that.
Yeah, it was definitely it was a little bit weird, but yeah, Tiki, like, I mean, he's not one, like, he did leave the Giants when he was at the peak of his career. However, we did win 2 Super Bowls after he left.
Right.
So if this is like a omen for what might happen now that we lost Saquon, I don't know. I might be with it.
Right. I guess you never know. Gotta be optimistic. You sound like me. I'm not gonna say delusional, but
right. Optimistic. That's the word.
Yeah, optimistic. Okay. So I have 2 more questions. Given that you are also a content creator, I'm going to talk about it later in the show as well, but I know that there, is plan in action to potentially ban TikTok. Do you have a game plan for what you're going to do if that happens?
So yeah, that is actually it's a real thing. I know it's been going on for like percolating for like a year now. But with UMG, that lawsuit going on and them removing the music on TikTok, like you're kind of already starting to feel it happening. I will say that my most recent video that I posted it on both Instagram and TikTok. And on Instagram, it was like, it went viral. It did numbers. Mm-hmm. TikTok removed it. And I was like, okay. But the numbers in comparison, like I can tell that more users are trending over to Instagram now. So I think for me personally, like I've always used both Instagram and TikTok simultaneously. I post the same videos on both. But I do think that I need to start looking more into YouTube, because you can post your YouTube shorts, which is like the same length as TikToks, the same length as IG Reels. So I think for me that if it does happen to get banned, I think YouTube and Instagram will just be the backups.
Okay. And then do you ever feel weird about posting your TikToks on Instagram? Because that's a running debate too. People are like, oh, these are 2 different lives. I don't know how I feel. Like, how do you feel?
I mean, well, from my experience working with brands, like they want you to repurpose your content for both platforms. And then also it just makes it easier. Like I'm not going to make a whole different video for Instagram for the same exact thing that I'm posting, like for the same topic I'm posting on TikTok. Like I just don't even have the time for it, to be honest. So it's like, once I make one video, I'm like, great, I'll disperse it everywhere I can.
Right.
And then just see which one picks up traction the most. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how everything plays out.
Right. No, for sure. Okay. And then my last question. So my show is all about women empowerment. Is there an athlete or a woman in the industry that you would like to give a shout out to right now that is killing it in the game?
Well, first things first, of course, you, my dear. Like I said, I feel like this has been a long time coming for us to link. I've been watching you do your thing, and like I just feel like you are also like, girl, you're leading like the new charge of ladies who are coming up. And honestly, it's just great to see, and it's wonderful to see like how you've grown. And granted, I've only known you for quite some time, but just looking through your journey from UN to where you are here, like you work hard, and it's paying off. So first of all, definitely you, my girl. And then I would say the ladies that you previously had, Joy and Taylor, like I was just talking about this the other day. I'm so happy that they came out with their podcast because I feel like that really opens the door for like girls like us. Like, so when we come out with our joint podcast, people are not looking at us crazy. Like, why did they think this was a good idea?
Right.
Like, it kind of like, it knocks down another door for us that they continue to knock down throughout their entire career. Right. So this move in particular has just made me so happy. And I've been a Taylor Rooks fan from like back in college. I used to watch her YouTube and her podcast. So it's just great to see the growth, and I'm excited. Like, I think in the next few years, like, there's definitely going to be some big link ups for sure.
Yeah, I agree 1000%. And it's so funny because like all of us sports girlies, like, you know, we follow each other on Instagram. I see us all in their comments and stuff because that's a huge step for us that people don't even realize, because we haven't really seen, you know, two girls come together, especially like Black women come together and actually share experiences that it feels like sometimes we can't say, because it's like, you know, we got to be in a certain position. We're around a lot of men. I don't think people understand what goes on in the background of just not to just say how we feel sometimes, or even disagree, even though we still got to stand strong. So I love that they have that platform where they can just uniquely be themselves, say what they want to say together. That's what makes it so powerful. So I agree 1000%. And I'm excited to see what else they have coming out.
For sure. It's like watching like myself have a conversation with like another girly that gets it. That's what I feel when I'm watching that show.
1000%. Well, thank you, Tati, for being a guest. It was a pleasure to have you. What is your social media so people can follow you? I'm going to add some of your TikTok clips so people can make sure they tap in.
Yeah, run it up, guys. So you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Tatiana Sierra. It's TatianaSierra. And thank you so much for having me. This was a blast, girl.
Of course, if you guys are watching, make sure to follow her on her socials. Thank you so much again, Tati. We're going to go to break, and when we return, we'll get into Ain't No Way.
She called this thing about toxic. 4 years and counting. Got you feeling like an option. Maybe I'm my own problem, babe. She tired of hearing I don't know. What's stubborn in me won't fall. Dealing with this thing called trust. But she really thinking about it. She wanna be free. Why am I here? This woman wanna be free. Hell, I don't wanna see her walk away. I wish somebody told me the rules. Disagreements let her win, and it's cool. Even when I'm right, this ain't about you.
Welcome back. Now moving along to the crazy things that have happened this week. Ain't no way the US is banning TikTok. So I'm not sure if you guys have been in a position where you have children and you've been telling them to get off that TikTok app, or if you've been stuck on it yourself. There's a lot to do on TikTok, but by the looks of it, no one will be able to enjoy the app pretty soon, because the House of Representatives just passed a bill that will more than likely ban the app in its entirety. So after the House, it's going to be sent to the Senate, and Biden basically already said, look, if this bill gets put on my table, I will sign the okay for it. So the real question is, how did we get here and what is going on? So I'm sure you guys have seen the TikTok takeover, especially after the pandemic and quarantine. I don't know nobody who wasn't on the app, whether you were doing dances, doing fun things in your room, doing cooking videos, trying hauls, makeup, whatever it may be, even live videos. A lot of people have been on that train. A lot of US people have been using the app. Granted, it's a worldwide app. People are using it everywhere, but especially in the States, I think we have set the bar up here with TikTok. So the argument is, in simple terms, is that the Chinese government can use the app to spy on Americans and spread misinformation. Now, the exact verbatim words weren't spy on Americans, but they were saying that they have internal things to look at what we're doing. So I'm going to use the word spy because that's the best, easiest way to explain what's going on. So basically, legislation is calling for the parent company called ByteDance to divest or sell TikTok, or it will be banned from app stores and web hosting services in the US. So they will have exactly 165 days to comply. So basically, the states want ownership over the company ByteDance that has TikTok because we want to know where the sources are coming from. So there's a lot of back and forth dialogue. There's half of the side saying this is great, you know, we need ownership of what our students, children, kids are consuming. And the other side just feels like this is internet censorship. We should be able to consume whatever information we would like. So it's two opposing parties. So TikTok's response has been, we are hopeful that the Senate will consider the facts, listen to their constituents, and realize the impact on the economy, 7 million small businesses, and the 170 million Americans who use our service. So that's the exact number of Americans that use TikTok, 170 million, which is a lot. And that's, I think, the thing that people do forget about. It sounds dramatic when you hear 7 million small businesses are going to run out of business, but truly a lot of businesses have been incorporating that social media and TikTok aspect into their business plan because the consumers are on TikTok, whether they're looking for ideas or recommendations. They're scrolling along on the app to see what they need to buy, what they should use. And so a lot of businesses have incorporated this within their business plan. So as we know, TikTok has a wide range of information from various people, sources, and places. And I don't think TikTok is censored. I think anybody can kind of just post anything, post whatever fact they'd like. It goes on the app, and that's their opinion to share. Now, I am not using it for any ill intent. I truly use TikTok because I want some clothes recommendations or I want to see somebody's daily routine. I enjoy content like that. When I was growing up, I used to be so stuck on YouTube and watching people's morning routines, whether it be content creators, or I would watch a lot of gameplay videos. I would literally sit and watch, and I don't know how big of YouTube fans y'all are, but I used to watch Joey Graceffa, PewDiePie, do their little gameplay, whether it be Minecraft, Call of Duty, whatever game it was. You know, that's how I consumed information. And TikTok definitely made it bite-sized. If you don't want to sit and watch 30, 35, 40-minute videos, you can watch up to a 60-second video. Granted, we know that TikTok has expanded the amount of time that they allow on the app, but it's still nice to be able to have bite-sized content. So, of course, TikTok especially blew up after the pandemic, and a lot of content creators are getting to that bag. There are literally millionaires working from just making content on TikTok. A popular example who has grown from TikTok to beyond is Keith Lee. He's a Las Vegas content creator who would do food reviews. And his food reviews went so viral that he was able to go on a food review tour. If you watch my earlier episodes of Check Out the Stat, you can check that out to learn about his story and what he's been doing. But yeah, he's getting to a bag, and he's not only helped his own personal business as a content creator, he's helped other businesses, whether he would give them good recommendations, or he might hurt some businesses if he didn't really give good recommendations. But the people were able to know the truth. So what happens when TikTok is taken away? Of course, a lot of creators will be affected and a lot of businesses will be affected because they're not reaching that third-party audience, whether it be from Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can only get so much recommendations from those apps, and I think TikTok was the way to do that. So the thing that's interesting for me, I haven't really heard of a, app ban per se in my lifetime. The major one that I remember was Flappy Bird. That had its whole own thing going on. Flappy Bird was literally a mobile app, and you would jump with the bird through the obstacles, and one day it got banned. I don't remember exactly why. And something with this app, now that I'm talking about it, this app called Talking Tom, it was like this cat that would speak to people. You could do your own research, but those were the only two major app bans, but I've never seen it on an app that has been so commercialized within everyday lives, because I don't really know anybody who's not using TikTok. And the thing about content creators using TikTok versus Instagram, this would be a lot of people's Hannah Montana moment. That's what I would call it, because their main Instagram was their Miley, right? That's where you have the glamorous, luxurious lifestyle that you just have people see what you want to see. And then Hannah Montana would be on TikTok, because we're just going to post everything that we want. That's what we're going to share with the world. I'm going to post more of my inside thoughts so people could separate the two on the different apps. So now by removing TikTok, you ain't going to see what a lot of people are thinking, because I promise you they're not going to post it on Instagram unless they have a TikTok dedicated content creator account, which a lot of people don't have, because, making use of multiple accounts is not an easy thing to do. So like I said earlier, the House passed the bill. It's got to go to the Senate. Biden already said that he would sign it off. So me personally, I would love to know you guys' thoughts about the ban. Do you guys think TikTok is crazy? It's a takeover. You don't want your kids on it? Or do you think it's silly? Now, me personally, I think there's a lot of other issues that we should be worried about. I just don't think that this is at the top of the list. But for some people, apparently it is. They've been talking about a ban for a while now, and it's been a lot of back and forth dialogue, but this is the first time we're actually seeing things kind of happen in action. So all we can do is wait and see what happens. But personally, based off the research that I've done and what I've seen, it doesn't seem very likely that TikTok is going to stay. But I'm sure a very, very, very smart person out there will make, a US-based TikTok of their own, because I just don't think that they're going to give up ByteDance or TikTok because there's way too much money to be made from it. The UK and other countries are probably going to do their own little takeover and benefit from the app while the US can't. So it's either we're going to make something new or there's going to be a lot of arguments around the country. I don't know. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I would love to know what you guys think. And if you even use TikTok, as you guys saw, my guest earlier uses TikTok a lot for her content creation. And it has helped her, get brand deals and make herself seen by a bigger audience. So I think TikTok's dope, but some people don't. That's it for today's episode. Y'all can hashtag check out the stats so we can continue the discussion next week. And maybe your question or take will be featured. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the stats. I'll see y'all next week.
Two Big Macs, like when they doing them 2 for $5.